Hey viewers, my name's Kara, and a little while ago I asked you guys to ask me questions, and here are the answers. Do you have any personal spiritual goals that you would like to see reach humanity on a global scale, i.e. eco-communities, retreats, etc.? It's only the first question and I'm already not entirely sure what it's asking. I do have goals for things I'd like to do that I eventually want to be available on a global scale, like things that I write or my videos and stuff like that, and I do have goals for attending things that are open to the global community, like more pride events and festivals and things like that, but I don't have any goals for creating things like retreats that would be for the global community, one person at a time. What are some of your favorite non-pagan hobbies and interests, meaning what do you do outside of paganism for fun and enjoyment? Of course, being a lifestyle, my spirituality permeates everything, so a lot of this sounds related. I do love crafting and making things for my Etsy, and I play music. Every now and again I get out my flute or my piccolo and start playing again. I haven't played regularly since high school. Or my African drums, I have a djembe. I like gardening when it's warm, and I'm sort of teaching myself yoga. I watch a lot of crime shows, and then of course acting, singing, and dancing. Do you need to do vlogs about your path on a regular basis to be recognized by the community? It seems that we only connect with each other when we are on the subject rather than finding each other through intuition. I don't think I've ever found a fellow pagan through pure intuition. Most of the time I know when I hear someone talking about beliefs, or I make a guess based on their jewelry or their tattoos. But no, you don't have to make videos about your path in order to be recognized in the community here on YouTube, because I know several people who just comment and don't make videos, or some pagan vloggers who don't vlog about their path. But yes, for me at least, you would have to say something or let me know in some way that you are part of the community, because I can't just guess, and I don't like to guess if I can help it. I don't like to assume in my head who's pagan and who's not. 2 questions from this next person. The first one, when is the best time to come out as a Wiccan and how? The best time is when you feel it's right, and no one else, including me, can tell you when that is. As for how, I think it depends on who you're telling. I'm supposed to make a video about how I told my family, which I haven't gotten to yet, but it is on my list. But with some people, you can just tell them. Other people in my life have found out when I bring up a subject that is really important to me as a pagan, and through that discussion, my beliefs are revealed. Other people maybe just see my jewelry and ask about it, or see something else that I've made. So it really just depends, but it's up to you. And 2, what was your dream job or jobs? Because as you get older, things change. Like when I was little, because when I was very young, I wanted to be a ballerina, or a secretary, which I've actually done a little bit of and I do enjoy, or a Power Ranger. Do you really dance around naked? That person is a friend of mine, and they are clearly just referencing my Shit People Say video because they already know the answer to that question. Wink. Why do you think other forms of neo-paganism such as Hellenismos and Kemeticism, among others, are more uncommon to the large number of Wiccans and witches? Since you're very active in the pagan community, do you feel these other religions are ignored in some way? Are you asking why they are uncommonly known by Wiccans, or why they seem to be less represented than Wiccans? I think it's less common compared to the number of Wiccans out there because it's less represented in the media. Media focuses more on general witchcraft or Wicca, and that's what people find the most books about or the most information online. I also think there are a lot more people who think they're Wiccan for a long time before they realize it's not for them, because they just don't know that there's anything else out there. Whereas other paths are a little bit more difficult to find information about, at least right away, if that's not what you're looking for, you know? So those other paths don't really have the large number of not really interested people claiming to be those things, because most people, they're looking for something general, and Wicca is what pops up. And that's really what I think it is. And I don't think that those other paths are being ignored so much, as it's just not as available to people who are learning about it, because I do know a lot of people who follow those other paths, even on YouTube. I could name a couple right now, but it is a much smaller number, and I think that may just also have to do with the fact that a lot of people are eclectic now, so even some people who incorporate those specific traditions and paths, they don't necessarily identify as that. I think those other paths are not as represented in the media, yes, but it also depends on which medium, because there are a lot of things that focus on Greek mythology, and there's been Norse mythology recently, and there's a children's show coming out on one of the channels. I've seen the previews when my little cousins watch TV at our house. there is a show coming out that's based in Egyptian mythology. So it depends on which medium and it depends on which thing, but overall I think it's probably not a bad thing for those paths that they're not getting the over-representation that Wicca or general witchcraft are getting, because it's not always good, which I will be exploring more on my channel in the future. Couple questions from this next person too. Could you please talk about intent when it comes to spell work? Why do things, results, and effects happen that we haven't planned on, or things don't work at all? Things happen that we haven't planned on because we can't plan for everything or know for sure how our request is going to be taken. And I believe that things don't work either when we don't put enough energy behind them, or when it would be overall better for the universe for it not to work. I believe that the universe works with me on things that it supports. But if I try to do something that just shouldn't happen, then it won't. Or sometimes the universe will let it happen just to teach me a lesson. Which brings me to the next question. I've heard you say that it's important that one should have a very specific idea in mind when doing spell work. Why is that? Because the universe has a great sense of humor. If your intention is kind of vague, you will be answered in the other way. Or even if you word something very carefully, there could be another meaning to one single word, and that's the thing that happens. So I think if you really focus on your intent, there's just less wiggle room for it to turn out a different way. Though the humorous lessons are always fun. Elliptica also asked a couple questions. Do you have a familiar? That's a tough question right now because, as you all know, my familiar passed away a couple years ago. But lately, my other cat has been acting more like my old pal. And someone recently told my friend that familiar energy can transfer to other animals when one passes away. So maybe I still have her, I'm not sure. Who are your top 3 YouTubers to watch that you're not a part of? I love Soundly Awake, I've been watching him for years. Mike Falzone, I love his music and comedy, and I go to his shows when he's local, so I've actually met him, so I know him. And third, I guess, would have to be the Vlogbrothers and any of their related projects, because I don't watch every one of their videos anymore because there are so many of them and they have so many other channels and projects going on, but like John and Hank Green as the Vlogbrothers in general. There are way more than 3 YouTubers that I love, so that was really difficult. Did you have a point in your life where your spirituality just clicked, or was it a gradual process? Kind of both. Because I knew for quite a while that I believed differently, so in that way it was gradual. But it sort of happened all at once I knew what to look into. Candace has a non-pagan related question, which is totally okay. She watched my video about hippie hair and she's wondering if that hair regimen is still working, and she is just starting. Wish her luck. I mean, I think it's still fine. I've been doing it for a couple years now. It is a bit drier now because it's winter and I do have trouble with dry skin a lot of the time, so I have to do different things to it right now sometimes. But overall, yes, I still like it. I washed it yesterday and this is what it looks like the next day, so. Luck! Violet asked me a very nice question. What is your favorite fairy tale and why? Does it have a specific meaning for you, or do you just love it because you love it? I actually took a course about folklore, fairy tales, myths, and legends, so I have a lot more to choose from now than I did before college. I don't think I have one favorite, but I do love the juniper tree because it has a lot of common fairy tale elements to it, but it's just so different than what I and my classmates knew as a fairy tale before we took the course. Heidi asked, do you believe in fairies? Yes. I mean, I don't know exactly what I believe about them as far as what they actually are or who can see them, whether they're literal or something else, but the answer is not no. You look younger and younger in each video. Is it magic? Probably. What is your take/opinion on the law of attraction? I use it in the way that I do spellcraft. I agree with the principle and it's part of universal laws. I don't believe that it can change something that's already set, but I use that idea in magic by picking correspondences that will attract the kind of result that I want. Because that stuff is in the future and it's not already set.